It's time for you to be the you that you know you can be and to find your mettle. My name is Preston Ewell, and I'm the host of the Mettle Mentality Podcast. I'm a husband, a father, and American soldier. What is mettle? It's your strength of character that you rely on to endure hardship. It's your grit. Together we'll learn from some dedicated, passionate, mettle-minded individuals who define themselves by their grit and their graduation from suffering. Be mettle. Stay mettle. Welcome to the show, everyone. This is Mettle Mentality. I'm your host, Preston Ewell. I have a special guest here today with me. His name is Myles Jack Morrison. He is the CEO and founder of SwolM8 Fitness. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing wonderful.
Man, it means so much to me that you're here. You're willing to do this and just share your story with us. It's incredible. Your story is so awesome. When you first told me about it, if you remember, I literally was crying as you were telling me it because I was so moved by it. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm an emotional guy, and I don't apologize for feeling my emotions. It's like apologizing for being human.
Hey, I started coming about love, so you're preaching to the choir.
Yeah, good. Yeah, so I might cry, and I if that makes you feel uncomfortable, then that's on you.
Hey,
not on you. I'm talking to the audience.
Yeah, real men are not afraid to share their emotions.
Absolutely. Let's get rid of that stigma, right? You and I right now. Let's just start crying.
No. just start the whole entire
first person to cry wins. No, so the show. This is Mettle Mentality. We talk about mettle, which is your strength of character you rely on in difficult times, and believing you can endure hardship and learn from it. But I want to get to the most important question right away. We're going to dive right into this. I need to know your opinion on Bigfoot.
Bigfoot?
Yeah. Is he real? Is it she? Is it gender? Does it have...
You know what?
Sasquatch, if that makes you feel more comfortable.
Yeah, right. We gotta get... anything is possible. But for me, I don't know. It's really hard for me to think that we have so much surveillance going on. If we found Bigfoot, I think we would have found it.
I see where you're coming from. Now, let me just throw a little bit more of a curveball to you.
Okay.
So let's say that it's not... I'm assuming you're saying a primate, right?
Yeah, if we would have found Bigfoot,
yeah,
I think we would have found it.
What if it's more of a supernatural thing?
Supernatural?
Yeah, like a ghost, demon, spiritual thing, and it shows itself when it wants to. I don't know.
Oh, jeez. The only ghost I believe in is the Holy Ghost.
The Holy Spirit.
The Holy Spirit.
All right. Well, that's super important that we know that now. I'm glad that you shared that.
Yeah, right. But as the Bigfoot thing, anything is possible. For me, if I would have seen it by now, I think I would have seen it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it is. I think people are seeing something, but I don't know what they're seeing.
I think they're on something.
And I think, we can get way into this. Why don't we just make this about Bigfoot, right?
Yeah, no more mentality. It's like the term just changes to a Bigfoot talk.
Yeah. This is Bigfoot mentality.
You're right.
Yeah, no. That's fun to talk about. I want to believe. I'll say that. I'm like more.
I want to believe there's Bigfoot out there.
I don't want to see it, though.
No, I don't want to see it. We're just talking about crying, so there we go.
I would cry, too.
Yeah.
No, I'm joking. So, let's talk about... tell us who you are. Tell us about you.
So, if anyone does a little backstory about me, so I was born in a small town of Los Gatos, California, and I make the joke that you're not from Los Gatos when you call it Los Gatos, because Los Gatos is spelled Losgatos, but we say Los Gatos.
Mm-hmm.
But from there, I played football. I've been always around having that protective mentality. I love the sport of football because the fact that I can throw myself out there and protect someone. I want to be able to take care of people, and then I started doing. I like making sure that people are always smiling and protected. So I actually even got into theater and music and all that crazy stuff, and seeing people's reaction, that's what really drew me to where I am right now. And then all of a sudden, out of all the places that God wanted me to go, is Utah, and I didn't believe that I was made for Utah.
Nobody does.
Right.
Until they get here and they're like, oh, wow.
Yeah, like, right, cool as a Californian, I was like, my California died, and then all of a sudden I come to Utah, and I'm like, I understand why I moved. Like, it was beautiful here. Mm-hmm. And slowly and surely, I slowly relied on my physicality in football to get me into colleges and such. And I actually had a teacher tell me that I couldn't go to university because I wasn't made for university. I wasn't smart
intellectually?
enough. Yeah, I wasn't smart enough.
Well, I'm gonna tell you right now, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Right? Like, but
what a terrible teacher.
And it's not me here to point fingers. I'm very grateful for everyone that's come in my life, good and bad, because it made me the man I am today. Because with that, I had that little bit of a moment where I was like, well, what the heck am I going to do? I remember playing my first, because I got some scholarships to play for some big universities in high school, and I dislocated my shoulder, and all those scholarships went out the window. And I was like, what am I going to do? And my grandma came up to me, and she told me that I needed to apply to Dixie State University down south. And
so everybody knows, that's in southern Utah. That's
southern.
In St. George, right?
Sunny St. George.
Yeah, like right by the Nevada border.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I didn't think that. Well, I thought it was a community college at first, and then my grandma pointed out this was a university, and I was like, oh, "Is this?" And I just felt this really good feeling about that. And I talked to my mom, and slowly but surely, I applied and I got in. And I remember walking into that teacher's office with my acceptance letter to Dixie State University, mm-hmm. and pointing at the university symbol and saying, "Don't you dare ever tell someone that they can't do something." And still today, that teacher, I went back at least three years ago, and I gave him a Dixie State flag. and he still has it. That's awesome. Excuse me, she still has it right above her desk, and it was.
Do you feel like that was a really good teaching moment for her?
No, I think it was a good teaching moment for both of us, because I really taught myself that, don't listen to, even though some people who may have a higher position than you, for her, it showed that, don't crush a young person's dreams. And then at that point, I went to Dixie State, and then I joined. It's actually funny. When I went to Dixie, I was trying to get involved, so I got involved with the radio. I was Myles in the morning, mm-hmm. And then I got into student government, and with all those things, great things, I still felt that I was missing something, and I wanted to be a part of something. I wanted to go back to that way to protect people and to.
Where does that desire to protect people come from?
I think it came from. I don't know. I find more joy in my life, where I find more happiness, is making sure that someone else is smiling and happy, mm-hmm. and I just live for that. I think it's with the comic books I read when I was younger. I've read a lot of Captain America. Mm-hmm. I know that sounds very cliche, but I loved growing up with superheroes, mm-hmm. and it's always felt like I've always wanted to be that superhero. Mm-hmm. And now that superhero mentality, like, I'm going into this college as a new freshman, I'm just trying to find my place. And I feel like everyone at that moment, like 5 years ago, now thinking about it, trying to figure out who
you were,
who Myles was. Because, in high school it was just football. That was all. Football and acting. That was it. And now I'm in college trying to figure out who I am. And now, I remember going to a football game, and I remember walking around trying to.
Let's talk a little bit more about football. What position did you play?
I played defense.
Everywhere in defense, or do you have a specific linebacker?
Defensive end.
Defensive end.
I was one of the small guys, but I got my position because I was gutsy and
Rudy.
Yeah, I didn't care how tall the guy was in front of me.
No, that's grit.
I was getting that ball and I was getting that guy down.
Yeah.
So the offense can score, and I was really good at what I did. And they used to. My nickname was Bambi. Mm-hmm. Because I always led with my head, but if you got taken down by a guy named Bambi, I mean, it's kind of funny for me and for the team. Yeah. Anyway, so I remember.
You should put that on the back of your jersey.
Yeah, Bambi.
That should have been. You should have legally changed your name while you're.
Oh no, I love my name. My dad, the way that my dad named my name, he told me, he's like, if I can see in a end lights, Myles Jack Morrison. That's how
it does have a certain ring to
it. I mean, I always make the joke, the reason why they call me Myles is because I'll go the distance for you.
Do you sing the song? The Disney song?
Which go the distance?
Yeah, Hercules, right?
Oh, you're right.
I've heard you sing, man. You have a great voice.
Thank you. I'll promise I'll sing not on the podcast but somewhere else. But
just like when we're done with this, I want a solo. Just
perfect.
For me.
I will.
And I'll cry myself to sleep.
So I remember I was at that football game, and I was walking around, and I bumped into a soldier. He was in actually ROTC, and he was wearing a beret. And he looked very official, and I was like, "Oh, cool! Like, hey, how you doing, sir?" He's like, "Don't call me sir. I'm like, I work for a living." And I'm like, "Oh, haha." But and I was looking at him, and I had that little bit of like an aha moment. And I asked him, I was like, "So, how do you get that beret?" And he's like, "Well, what do you mean?" I'm like, "Well, how'd you get it?" Like, he's like, "Well, if you join ROTC, you can do this." I'm like, "Oh, so is it a class, or do I have to literally join the military?" He's like, "Well, you can take it as a class and you get the whole entire thing." And I was like, "Oh, cool." And I joined on the spot. But as I was doing that, I was kind of get that familiar feeling of putting on the uniform, like football, and having that protective mentality, and I don't know, that familyhood feeling, and I loved it.
Was it a sense of belonging?
It was like I wanted to become a better version of myself. Mm-hmm. And I was finding that through the military, and I got so fed up. I got so fed up that I was doing this class. I wasn't doing the real thing. Mm-hmm. So I literally went to the recruiter, and I said, "I want to do this. Sign me up." I didn't even tell my mom. Like, I just did it. Yeah. And I remember the funny phone call after I did that. And I was like, "So, Mom, don't kill me." I talked to the recruiter. She's like, "Oh, what recruiter?" I'm like, "The military." She's like, "Tell me you joined something safe." I'm like, "Well, define safe. Military's not a safe job." She's like, "Well, did you join at least the Air Force and the Navy, something like in that?" I'm like, "Not exactly." She's like, "Well, what'd you join?" I'm like, "I joined the Army." She's like, "Oh. At least tell me there's so I was a communications major. She's like, "At least tell me there's something communications and what you're doing." And I'm like, "Well, there's radios in the Paladins." She's like, "What's a Paladin?" I'm like, it's a howitzer." She's like, "What's a
artillery?
Howitzer?" Yeah, it's like, "It's artillery, Mom." And she's like, and she hung up the phone.
Oh man.
So I was like, "Oh jeez," but it's, and that's kind of a little backstory where I sit right now because of all these things of me wanting to, protect someone, find where I am, and I feel like who Myles Jack Morrison is always serving someone else.
So I like that. That's really cool that you have that mentality of,
Mm-hmm.
How do I say it? Putting yourself in front of others to protect them.
Absolutely.
I think if we had more people like that, the world would just be a better place.
Oh, well, I hope to inspire a lot of people to understand that it's not just you in this world. There's a lot of people out there that need help, and you know, it takes a special person to reach their hand out, and why not be that person?
Yeah. Sometimes I think it's harder to ask for help than to offer it.
Right.
And I don't really understand why that is. Maybe it's people think they're showing when we are afraid to ask for help. We're afraid that others will perceive us as weak, or that we're not capable of taking care of ourselves, or that we're freeloading, or I don't know. I think there's a lot of different reasons why we don't ask for help.
Yeah, but the strongest people, in my opinion, are the ones that have the guts to ask for help.
I would agree with you on that. I would. It takes a lot of courage to do it. And I think our society, we define strength as independence rather than community.
Oh yeah, 110%.
Yeah. So I want to get to the story of, we talked about before you joined the military, where your mentality of wanting to help other people. But I want to talk about events that have happened in your life that define who Myles Jack Morrison is. And when you shared this story with me several months ago, I was just blown away. And this whole podcast was just an idea. It was more of a dream, and I was just I didn't know what it was going to take. And now I'm here. But when I talked to you, I said to you, like, I want to have you on my show. And your story touched me. Would you share with the listeners and everybody who's here listening to this today your story of finding yourself?
After I got back,
back from basic training,
basic and AIT,
advanced individual training.
For the people who don't know that.
I know when I get with like military people, we talk in so many acronyms that it's like
it's just second nature for us. But it was also second nature for my dad that he was always there for me. He's been my best friend and one of the biggest supporters of my life. And when I was young, my family separated, and that was very hard for me because I didn't get to see my dad all that often as much as I wanted to. But you put me and my dad next to your room, we're literally identical. Like we look alike, we laugh alike, I looked up to him so much, and I wanted to be like him, because not only that he was out there out there grinding. He was an entrepreneur. He started his business, and a multi-million-dollar business, and I wanted to be like my dad. And one big thing that my dad has always told me is like, son, if you have the option to become a better man, you need to do it every single time. And when I was little, we did this little thing that every time we left for work, I said, hey, Dad, good luck. And the next day I said, hey, Dad, 10 times good luck. And the next day after that is 100 times. And then I asked my dad, what's the biggest number in the world? He's like, infinity. I'm like, Dad, infinity, good luck. And throughout my whole entire life, having that infinity good luck, I always said, me and my dad, that's the way we say I love you. It's just saying infinity good luck. And it was just our thing. And it was very, very, very hard on how my family separated, because and I don't think my dad was a weak man, but when you play with things like alcohol and alcoholism, it's a demon that not only that tears people apart, but tears yourself apart. You kind of lose who you are. And I've seen that in my family, that again, my family is a very, very strong family for what we've gone through. But those demons are stronger, and we got to watch out for that.
Yeah.
And I saw one of the most powerful, strong, loving men get lost in that.
So he got lost. So he was an alcoholic, right?
He was an alcoholic. And
how long did he struggle with that?
I mean, all his life. And I read into it, like he's, my family has that addictive personality. Mm-hmm. And it could be a good addiction, it could be a really bad addiction. But I have to understand that I have that. I have that personality trait, and my dad definitely did. And you don't become who you are when you're letting that run your life, but like you just gotta watch out because it's something like this. And I remember I was playing flag football at my college, and I haven't heard from my dad for quite a bit, and it worried me. And we were talking about a couple of days before, we were talking about going to the youth football game. He got tickets, and I was about to go see him next week, and I just hadn't heard from him, so it made me worried. And I got a call from my older brother, Kevin. He's asking, like, have you talked to Dad? And I was like, no. And 2 days passed from that call, and I get a call from my grandma, and she's like, where are you? I'm like, just driving around. About to go to my house. She's like, we're gonna come pick you up. I'm like, why? She's like, we gotta talk to you. And my grandma got out of the car, and she walked up to me and said, your father is not with us anymore. He passed away. And knowing how such an amazing man like him can be stripped away from me just in an instant like that, it hurt. It hurt. It still hurts. I miss him every single day.
How long ago was this?
About 3 years ago. And gosh, like I at the moment I didn't understand what was going on. I just didn't believe it was real. And first thing I did was I called my sergeant. I called him and said, I'm gonna be away for a bit. I'm gonna be okay. My dad passed away, and my sergeant was very, very, very comforting. But I told him that one big thing the military is very good with is making sure that soldiers are constantly watched over traumatic moments, and I didn't want to be thrown just like one out of left field. I wanted to let everyone know that where I was going to be, and I just got on a plane flight right to California to see my mom and my brother and my sisters.
Can you share with us how your dad passed? Are you comfortable with that?
So it wasn't natural. It wasn't natural. Man, I don't think my dad was a weak man for that.
No, I don't think that at all.
It's just like, it just shows how terrible and horrible what alcohol can do, and alcoholism. And I haven't drank a single drop since then. And but the incredible thing with all this that happened, that even though when my dad passed away, I still felt a big feeling in my heart that he's okay. Mm-hmm. And he's taken care of. And I remember seeing his body one last time and just holding his hand, and I just realized, I'm like, that's not my dad anymore. Because if he was, he would inflate with life. And he's somewhere else. And, I had to come to God moment that eternal families are real and I will be back with him. And I just felt this comforting feeling as I was driving back down to St. George that, for all the good things and bad things happening in your life, they make you who you are right now. And I wanted to count all the blessings that my Father has given me in that moment. Mm-hmm. And that's why I take every single day as a blessing. The fact that I can breathe, the fact that I can move my body, the fact that I can just talk to people, the fact that I'm here right now talking to you and talking to everyone on this podcast, is that I want you guys to all remember that with the good and bad that happen in your life, gosh, I wouldn't throw any of that away.
Why do you say that?
Because look who I am right now. I am a good man.
Yep.
I know what I know. I know that the sun will always rise, no matter how dark the night gets. And
would you say that this experience has come to define your mettle or your strength of character?
And you know what? Yes. And at the time, I was just destroyed about it. But now, after a couple of years ago, like I would give anything. There's times where I want to just throw all this success out the window just to have one phone call with my dad. But I know that's something higher, something that God has definitely put this in my life so I can be able to tell this mettle, tell this story, tell that. And every single day, my dad lives with me. I'm a Morrison. We're strong. And the fact that I can still smile and everything, I just really hope that everyone can see that there's a lot of, some bad moments, a lot of great things happen. And not saying that my dad's death was something that I'm proud about. I'm very...
Well, I think what you're proud of is who you've become from the lessons you've learned through going through that suffering.
Yeah, and I'm proud to be my dad's son.
Yeah,
I'm proud that I can, with all the things that he taught me, that I've overcome top-notch, heart-aching moments.
Yeah. Are you familiar with David Goggins, who he is?
Yeah, I've heard David Goggins, yes.
David Goggins is like the most metal person on the face of the earth.
Oh, yeah.
He's incredible. And someday he's going to be on the show. He just doesn't know it yet.
Right. We'll find a way. We'll bring him on.
We'll get him. It's just a matter of time. But he says that there's victory in suffering. If you want to find out who you are, discover who you really are, you have to go to war with yourself. Did you go to war with yourself?
Yeah, well...
And what how did you find that victory?
Every single day is a battle. The fact that you get out of bed, the fact that, as I said, the breathing is a blessing from God. That the fact that you can go and take that breath and move your body and go do something, that's the battle. That's the fact that you have so many hours in a day, so many days in a year, and so many years on this earth. What are you going to do with it? And when I started my own company, and people thought I was crazy, and people thought I was also crazy joining the military. People thought I was crazy going to a university, as I just said. But it's the battle is proving to yourself that you have worth.
Yeah.
And you do. Everyone here, as I said,
if you're living, you have worth. Even if you've passed, you still have worth because of the impact you've had on other people. That has value.
Yeah, think about it. How many planets out there in the universe? How many universes out there? And the fact that you're here, that you've made it, that you're a living, breathing human being, that you have intelligence enough, intellect enough that you can retain information and then use that information to make something.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Like that
mind blown emoji.
Mind blown. Like you just sit there and I'm like, and in my age group, the people my age, like, they were just sit there like worried about why they couldn't go to the party on Friday.
Yeah.
And I worry about like what's the next how am I gonna solve the next world's biggest problem? And yeah, it's a tough world, but you know what? You're tougher.
Oh, that's a good point. I like that a lot. You're tougher.
Yeah.
That's what Mettle is, right?
Yeah.
You're tougher than what you're dealing with, right? And we use without the suffering, we don't learn. There's no growth without struggle. And everything. You think about a weed growing in the dirt, it's got to push up out of the dirt, knowing that there's something better up above, right? And the only way we grow individually is through struggle and suffering. Even when we build muscle, like, we tear that muscle apart, and it heals itself and becomes bigger and stronger. And I don't know. What are your thoughts? What do you think? What do you think about that?
Well, like,
what lessons have you learned that have from your suffering? How's this? Let me back up. Let's say this. How has the suffering you went through losing your dad been a benefit to you, and how did you grow from it?
That, I mean, like, you count every single day as a blessing. I will never look at another day and think to myself that I'm going to waste another moment. I'm a very big person on Instagram, and well, not saying big, but like I'm very about making memories, and I'm very big about trying to make someone else's day. And one thing that learning something from my dad is that you gotta not every single moment's given to you. It's not handed to you. You have to go get it.
Yeah. And
I know for a fact that the father and husband I'm going to be, I will not allow that in my family. Mm-hmm. And because I've seen it, and I've seen it tear apart.
Are you talking about negativity?
No, I'm just talking about the alcoholism, that stuff, allowing an earthly thing over a celestial blessing, or just a blessing for myself, like health-wise. Mm-hmm. Like, I will never allow that stop me from getting something that I would love to have, and that's 1, to be a husband, 2, to have a family, and 3, have a sustainable family. Yeah. Everything I do is so I can have those 3 things. And definitely I learned a lot of things from my dad, but obviously from that thing too. I saw a firsthand example what happens if you allow those things happen in your life. Even like a big strong man like my dad has succumbed to that.
Yeah, addiction is probably, I'm gonna say, from my perspective, addiction is the hardest thing anybody can go through. And I have a lot of empathy for people who have been through addiction, as my addiction and overcoming it that I've been through. The lessons that I learned from it define me as who I am. Mm-hmm. And there were a lot of times I just wanted to quit, and I did quit. And things happen that I'm not proud of. From your perspective, why do you think people quit? Not just on fighting things that are difficult in addiction, but why do they quit on themselves and chasing their dreams? Why do people quit?
I feel like the world around them and people tend to listen to more about other people's opinions rather than themselves. And one of those other opinions is those little demons in the back of your head. That's not you. And because when you go chase a dream, it's you make that dream. Mm-hmm. That's like, I want to do this. Like, no one's going to tell you, like, hey, you should do this. Like, I'm not going to pick up a lacrosse stick. I'm going to pick up a football because I like football. But when I hear, like, I'm bringing back the football mentality. Like, when you hear the boos and the Like, if there was no crowd and everything, you were just playing football, it wouldn't matter. You'd just be playing it. But when you hear when you take in those other thoughts in your head, the outside like thoughts, like you're gonna think like, oh my gosh, like, do I really suck? Like, do I really feel that? And then you start believing it. And I've had those moments too. Like I've had very weak moments where I was like, am I really that, like, am I that bad? Am I that, do I suck that much? And then it just started to make me believe that I really did suck, and I was about to quit. Like, I was about to quit a lot of big things that were about to happen in my life. Like when I first started my company, I didn't make it through a military course. Like, does it make me a bad soldier or a bad businessman? No. Does it make me a bad man? No.
Yeah.
But one thing that I did notice through all that is those outside voices. You just got to watch out for that. You got to understand, like, who's talking. Who do you want to listen to?
Yeah. So this is great, because this leads a great segue into what I want to talk about next is comparison. And I think that's what you're kind of getting at, is we compare ourselves to others, or the perception that they've made it to some imaginary destination.
Oh yeah.
Or we compare ourselves to what people say we are, and we compare ourselves to the success of others. And so when we fail, we often will identify with that failure, not thinking that, oh, I failed at this, but that I am a failure.
Right. And like building off on that, like I'll give you an example. When I first started my company, SwolM8, by the way, if anyone's listening to this podcast still, SwolM8 Fitness is a brand that I created about a year ago. We've just hit worldwide. It has a net worth of $1 million right now, and I'm blown away by it. I'm very humbled by it. But when I started my company, like there was people who told me like, you're like, clothing, really? You don't know anything about clothing. You don't know anything about this and that. Like, and there was times where I was living off of pennies, like paying off gas bills and stuff. And I was like, am I really doing, like, what am I doing? Like, and I was more listening to their opinions about how to run my company and everything. But you know what? The funny thing is, if they had the opinions, if they had the ideas that they tend to give me, the good advice that they had, where's their company? Right? And that's why everyone was just thinking to myself, I'm like, if people are going to judge me from trying something and trying to put myself out there, who's the judge? Right. Like, cast the first stone if you haven't sinned.
Or these people that were judging you, had they even tried starting a company?
No.
Before? So you've already beat them because you were attempting to do something that they had never done themselves.
And you know what? Like, then the funny thing is, right now, the moment that SwolM8 became successful,
they started calling.
They started calling me and they started asking me like, "Hey, so I was thinking about starting my own brand."
I was wrong.
No,
tell me why I was wrong.
But you know what? I'm never the one to tell someone that they can't do something, because I'm not going to be them.
That's good.
So I help them. And you know what? I point them in the right direction. I say, do your research, do this and that. And it's it's funny. Like, you got to remember that trying is the biggest part of succeeding. And failing is definitely a big part of succeeding too. Because guess what? You can fail 111 times, but the 112th, if it works, those 100, like you're walking away with a paycheck. Like,
and that 112th time, you're going to take everything you learned from those other 111 fails. They're going to teach you the lessons which you did wrong, which you need to do differently.
Yep. And
not identifying with failure.
Right. And failure is a beautiful thing.
It's a great teacher.
It's the best teacher, and it really humbles someone too. And starting back to how SwolM8 even started.
Take us back there. Where did the idea come from? What did you go through? Take us day one.
Day one.
Day one SwolM8.
I have always been someone who's been a cheeseball, someone who's been in love with love all of my life, and that goes back to my influence with Disney and the fairy tale, and
That's so true, because as my daughter came down and wanted to say hi to you, the first thing you asked her was who's her favorite Disney princess.
She was wearing Disney. I was like, boom, I got this.
Best
like,
friend. Did we just become best friends?
We just became best friends. Just the Disney mentality. I love that happy ever after feeling, and the funny thing is too is I'm very into fitness. I had a big transformation. I used to be 250 pounds. Not a good 250, by the way.
How tall are you?
I'm 5'9", so you can kind of do the comparison. Like,
yeah. And I'm painting that picture because you definitely don't. If you're 250 pounds, you're pure muscle. Like,
yeah,
like I feel uncomfortable physically about my physical appearance when I'm around you. I feel super fat when I'm around you, and I'm not fat.
First of all, you're perfect.
Thanks.
But like my neck, I didn't. It's kind of like a face and then attached to the body.
See, I have no chin, so.
Oh my gosh! Don't even go there.
I'm just.
Anyway, I had a big moment in my life where I transformed my life with my fitness, and I felt better and just more motivated. But it was those people in my life that truly did motivate me. My friends, my family. I had people in my life at the time that really did motivate me. And I used to make this joke called SwolM8, like they're my SwolM8s. And but it was actually the tipping point when I went to the gym one time, and I saw an unfit couple, and they were in there, but they were in there enjoying themselves. They were in there pushing themselves. They're in there falling more in love with each other because they were in there together. They were in there pushing. Like, it was incredible. I almost like teared up. I was like,
I was just gonna ask you, like, how emotional did you get?
I got very emotional. Like,
That's awesome.
And here's a guy in a tank top and shorts and like about to cry, and it's not because I was lifting weights. I was like that's just beautiful. Like,
not stereotypical.
Like I was breaking the whole entire stereotype. But I'm okay with that.
No, you should. That's good. That's great.
I'm okay being a different person.
No, be different. Be you, man.
So, and then I saw them, and I was like, how do I take that feeling and put that in the gear? And I thought to myself, I'm like, well, wow. And at the time, there was these other brands, I'm not even going to bring them up because they're irrelevant, but I was talking to them, and I was like, let me represent you. Let me do this for you. I can do this. I believe I can do this.
So why clothing brands? Like, the love and the clothing.
It was just
connect that bridge.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Like, these clothing brands that I was talking to, I was going to represent them. I was going to do this and that. And I was like, you know what? I'm sick of that. I'm sick of these brands that are so individual focused on themselves. They're so focused on making money and the individual. I feel like the fitness world's all about the individual. So, then I thought to myself, I'm like, there's that. I want to use that feeling of those two, that couple I saw, and flip the fitness world. And that's when SwolM8 happened. That's when I applied what I know about marketing. And there's a lot of people who turned me down because they thought I didn't know how to market, I didn't know how to run a business. So it's kind of like a self-proving myself. Like, here's a young man that I believe so much, so heartily, that love is a true motivator in life, that I'm going to start a business over it. Did I know how to start a business? No. Did I know anything about clothing? Not really. All I knew is that love truly does motivate someone.
You've monetized love.
What was that?
You've monetized sharing love.
Yeah, like I wanted to.
And I don't mean that as a negative way, but you've taken something that's universal, that we all appreciate, that we all desire.
Yeah.
Right. Turned it into a brand, and are sharing your message, that your Disney message, right?
Yeah, that mentality, and so the way that the name is spelled is SwolM8. And if you guys look on my website, the logo, it's the S, the M, and the 8 make up the heart. But the reason why I chose 8 in the name is I believe love goes on for eternity. That's just my background with eternal families and my religious background too. Like, I just feel that love truly does go for an eternity.
Well, love never dies.
Love never dies.
Yeah.
And then this is where you're going to get goosebumps.
I've already got them.
Right.
Look at me, dude. Like,
with my dad, you know how we say infinity good luck all the time to each other? If you turn the 8 sideways, what symbol is that?
Infinity sign.
It's the infinity sign. Not only that, I get to have this brand with me all the time and have that feeling about eternal families, eternal love, I get to have my dad with me too.
So you're taking everything your dad taught you.
Taking everything
and sharing it with the world.
Exactly. So, and that's why I'm so passionate about what SwolM8 is.
Dude, that you're right. Dude, look at my arms.
No.
I'm like sitting here like blown away by this. Like, you're taking your dad's love that he gave you and you're sharing it with the world.
And you know what?
You're being super successful at it.
You know, there's times where I'm sitting here, I'm like, how did this even happen? It's definitely a blessing from God. It's definitely a blessing that having what my dad's taught me. But you know what? With all, as I said, like going all back to these things, with the good things and bad things that happened in my life, it led me to the man I am today. It led me to being the man at that moment, understanding that love is a true motivator, and starting this brand. And now we're raising over thousands of dollars for charity. We're starting up GoFundMes for other charities and giving back to the community. And there's that protecting mentality that I had, that Mettle.
Your identity.
My identity is that giving person. And I want to be that person. I want to be that brand that flips the fitness world upside down and challenges not only people but other brands too to give back to the community is more. And I understand that there's bigger name brands that do that, and I love that. I mean,
every company
go for that. Like, yeah, but do it for the right reasons.
I think you got the right reasons.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm blown away right now. I really am. Like, I'm just like, I don't know what to say. Like, you totally impressed me. And that, from the moment I met you, I knew you were a great guy. And like, I remember when you opened up to me and you told me about your dad and why you started your company. When we were standing in the hallway, the barracks, you were going to work out and I was going to go veg out on my phone. No. And but no, I remember. I just was like, I want to be friends with him. Like, whatever this guy's doing, like, I want to be a part of it. I was just so impressed by the fact that you are unashamed of who you are. You live what you say.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
You're passionate about love. You have a passion for loving others, and that's why I'm humbled by your willingness to help me out on this show and be my guest, and come here to my house and my home and meet my family. And I probably am more excited to interview you than I have of anybody else I have lined up. And I just believe in you. Like, I believe in whatever you're doing, man. It's incredible. I don't know what to say. I just feel emotions right now. They're all good.
Well, for me, it's just I'm grateful for God. Obviously, I'm grateful for my dad. I'm grateful for my incredible friends in my life and family, and especially my SwolM8s. Like, and
how do I become a SwolM8? Am I a SwolM8?
And a SwolM8. Okay, that's why I love telling people this. A SwolM8 is someone who motivates someone with love. You don't have to be swole to be a SwolM8.
I didn't know if I had to join a club or buy a t-shirt.
You're already doing it right now. I seriously, with your family, that your wife and kids, I walked in the door to this broadcast, and I already felt a big, I don't know, a happy little ever after feeling in here.
Well, we have our own problems.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Everyone's not perfect. I got my own problems, so don't think that.
No, I'm glad you feel that way. I told my wife that I wanted to make sure that the environment for this interview was you felt welcomed. And
well, I'm surrounded by Disney's things, so yes, I'm feeling.
Yeah, if you look at my house, we just decorate with Disney. We're fanatics. So, with that said, what is your mettle? How do you define your mettle?
My mettle is taking in failure and creating something beautiful out of it. I feel that sticking to what I believe in, even though when those boos from the other crowd come in your head, and to always find out and look on, even on the hardest of times, that moment's going to define and make you grow into the best man or woman possible. It's another testimony that I'm going to be able to talk to someone about my mettle. And I think that's what it is. Just sticking to your guns, pushing through, not giving up on you, because you are an incredible person no matter what anyone else says.
That's awesome. Turn your mess into a message, right?
Mm-hmm. Amen.
It's not original. I read that somewhere, but I really like it. Turn your mess into a message, and that's, I think, together, what this show right here, this episode right here, I hope that that's what we're doing, is sharing what was our mess, mainly your mess, and how the message that you have is powerful, and you're gonna kill it. You're gonna slay.
It's not, the mess doesn't stop. Like, I'm always gonna I'm always gonna
absolutely.
create a mess, but
but you learn from it, right?
Oh, amen.
Right.
Yeah.
So your message is powerful. It's beautiful. It's gonna change the world. You're gonna change people's lives, and I'm really grateful for you coming here, opening up, sharing something, kind of reliving those emotions of losing your dad. I can tell it's difficult. I was touched by it, and I'm sure others will be touched by it too. So thank you for your time. Thank you so much for doing this. It means the world to me, man.
I'm very glad to be on here, and the fact that I can share my story and share a little bit of my dad's story. Man, it's more than I can handle, and I'm very grateful for every single second of it. Thank you.
So, what your website is? What?
So you go on to www.swolm8.com. So that's SWOLM8. So if you follow our Instagram right now, we're on there. Same thing, SWOLM8. You can find out some promo codes if you guys follow our story. But we are always trying to hook up our SwolM8s up with sweet deals. So keep your eyes on the lookout for that. And if you want to join the SwolM8 family, you can go on our website, again, at www.swolm8.com, and you can be a part of our team and become a SwolM8 athlete and push your message of what love is and how it motivates you.
That's awesome. Well, thanks for your time, man.
Anytime. Thank you so much.
We'll have to have you back on. All right.
All right.
Take care, dude.
Take care.